Hi, welcome to the Witch in the Woods. It is a bright sunny day and I am just taking 5 minutes aside. Sorry, I've not been posting much recently. To be honest, there's only one thing on my mind at the moment, and it's on everybody's mind, and it's the situation in Ukraine. So it seems a bit flippant to post about anything nice and light and sort of superficial at this point. And really I just wanted to do a quick video to catch up with you all, and I thought I wanted to do a card reading. It's card reading about the situation, mainly because I myself want to explore that, and I thought really it needs addressing. I don't want to skip over it as though it's not happening. So I'm going to do a small card reading. This is not the first attempt. I did one a couple of weeks ago that said Putin will invade Ukraine, and he did. And I did one last night. They seem quite positive. Excuse me while I grab my cards. But with some, it's not going to be resolved immediately. Kind of answers there, so I did that on a webcam and the sound was terrible, so we're trying it on a very bright sunny day, and with a better camera, so hopefully you'll be able to see the cards this time. So if you're interested in that subject, then I am going to do a short reading for the situation in Ukraine. There's Putin and Zelensky, that's his name. That's why I didn't post that, because I couldn't remember his name. Didn't get his name right last night. Anyway, sounding like I am well informed, let's carry on. So I'm going to use the Druid card Oracle, and I'm just going to pick a few cards. So without any particular order, I'm going to try and explore the situation. So the first card I get is Canunus, the Devil. And this is the card of earthly power. It is the law of power. It's the law of materialism as well, the law of money, and how that can lead you astray into a base animal kind of instinct. So I would say, sitting here in the West, of course, that this to me represents the driving power of Putin. So it would seem there's some kind of financial reason to go into Ukraine again. Now, wasn't there something about the resources in Ukraine? I can't remember quite what I heard. Was it some kind of, with lithium? There were resources there that were quite valuable, and this could be part of the reason why he has picked this time and these actions. He's also being quite demonic when it comes to throwing around threats, especially threats to do with power, control, coercion. So he is not looking in a good light here, and it's not just from our perspective. This is a deeper sickness of his soul, really. And he has to overcome the baser instinct, which he doesn't feel inclined to look at that. He isn't questioning his own motives here. He just sees the money, the power, the greed, what he can gain from it. Crossing that card, let's see what we got crossing the Devil, Canunus, in this pack. The Lady. The lady is plenty and abundance. It's the blessing of fruitfulness, of the harvest that can be gained. I see it as the land of Ukraine itself. She seems quite autonomous, quite powerful in her own right here. She seems like she is stepping into a sovereignty and reclaiming a sense of her own boundaries, her own domain. So if that's crossing the devil, I see that as the resistance and mitigating power upon this dark force at the bottom. So femininity, of course, represents by its very nature things such as caring, emotional nurturance, supports, and the world is trying to combat this aspect with this very feminine energy of support, nurturance, and aid as well. So moving on, I think we'll do the classic Celtic cross. So behind this situation, the wheel, the turning of the wheel, what goes up must come down, laws of karma, cycles of life, and it's like Putin feels that something has come full circle and it's time to come back to him. The people feel like it's gone full circle and it's too late. They have moved on from a certain situation. There is an element of karma at work. So this being in the past position means that karma is going to be attributed. There is going to be retribution for past actions that are perhaps playing out now, and maybe that revolves around Putin and his time in power, and the control that he's had over Russia. Perhaps there's a karmic comeback coming for that situation. There's a bit of karma involved for everyone in this situation, though. Things, it's like clearing the air. Things that needed to be cleared, blame that's going to be apportioned is coming around. So I might come back to these at a later point. So ahead, conflict. I think that's self-explanatory. The Five of Wands, there's yeah, there's a sense of exhilaration in that conflict. Some people are kind of enjoying that sense of power maybe that comes with conflicts. Maybe it's repressed tensions that everybody has been sort of dealing with for quite a long time. So in that conflict there may be some kind of resolution, as in an outright winner, an outright loser, or people actually managing to express their frustration, express their side of the story, to express their opinion on this matter. Self-explanatory conflict ahead. So I don't think this is something that is going to get resolved very quickly. There is more fighting to come. So the way that this is being expressed below in the subconscious is, and I suppose that's the collective subconscious, the Prince of Wands, that is idealism, daring, drive, desire for change, desire to change the world, desire to make the world into what you want it to be, rather than just settle for the power of others to change it for you. So people who are willing to stand up for their beliefs, people who are willing to make themselves seen and heard and stand their ground. It's a very idealistic card. So that is the subconscious aspect. The conscious aspect above is rebirth, fear of rebirth, fear of letting go of the status quo and allowing a new situation, a new time in life to arise. It's like being stuck in the birth canal. It's sort of, we were almost there, but it's, the progress is slow. There is something that is prohibiting that final push to birth a new situation. Enemies and forces that do not want that rebirth, that situation to come about. Now I love this particular little magic trick. If I'm going to turn that upright, and now I'm going to place it in the reading. So it's very suitable when we're coming up to Easter as well, a time of rebirth collectively in the consciousness. And now the symbol of the hare is calling to me. It's the hare is a feminine animal of magic and shape-shifting. So that something about shape-shifting, something about allowing everything to change position, to change form. Even those things that seem quite set may actually change and shift into new beings, new people, new situations. And I'd like to think that is a change of power in places where maybe people's retribution is due a little and other people are looking on disapprovingly. The people themselves are looking on. And it's birthing the divine solar child, which is some kind of aspect of joy and self-expression. So, heralding a new birth, and I am reading this upright, of course. That's where we're at now. We are kind of stuck in that, not being able to birth that new situation. So, on the Celtic spread, so this is the situation as, let's say, the leaders see it. Four of Wands, home. There's a lot of issues around home here, aren't there? Is people who are losing their home, people who have seen themselves as, you know, there's a cat at my door. People who have seen their home in some manner, say, as being Ukrainian, Russian brothers and sisters. Putin, of course, sees Ukraine as the home of Russia, and the Ukrainians see Ukraine as their own home, and many have had to leave their home. There's a sense of stability in this card. It could also be a kind of stagnation and a need to get out of the ruts that you're in that sort of domestic situation. So, a question of homeland. Whose homeland is it? And where are those people who have been dispossessed? Where are they going? They've had to pack up at a drop of a hat and leave everything behind. So of course there is a desire to find a place of home, a place of security. Then the way others see it, on top of that card, strength. Zelensky has enormous amount of strength here. He is standing up to face one of the most powerful forces on the planet, and they think they have strength too. It's definitely a battle of bravado and ego here. It's a battle of who has the biggest guns, but this is strength that is not about boasting and bravado. It's about personal strength, personal power, personal conviction in the right of your own battles, in the right of your own stance. So yes, and it is a battle of leadership. Who has the strength to assume this leadership? The boar is very symbolic of leadership in the Celtic tradition. It's the symbol of the warrior. And this card, of course, traditionally is gentleness tames the wild beast. So here, being in the right and standing in that right has that power to tame this force, which of course we're going to see as Putin and as Russia. So it needs gentleness to tame this beast. It needs caring and concern. It's things like the little old women who go up to the soldiers in the street and say, "What are you doing here? This is not your home," you know. That is the strength that will overcome this situation. So the hopes and fears in this situation are Six of Cups. I got this last night as well. So this is a looking back at a past, a nostalgic past perhaps with a little sorrow, perhaps with fondness. It is looking back at a situation of safety, security, love in the past, family, home, and being taken back to that situation in the present life. So for some people this is a return to Russia. For Russia this is a return of Ukraine to them. To some people this is looking back at what they have lost now. But it is a card overall of pleasure, of fond reminiscence about, say, your childhood, some kind of past situation. So I think this represents a hope of looking back to that past time when Ukraine was free, when Ukraine self-determined, it had its own government, it had its own role in life, and so people are hoping to return back to that time where everything was better. The possible outcome, Two of Cups. Wow, so a feeling of giving and receiving love. Two nations that can unite in harmony and talks and resolution. Love that can prevail in that sense. The bonds between Russia and Ukraine have always been sort of familiar bonds that are many people who have, who are half Russian, half Ukrainian, they see themselves as close people, as brother and sister, as the cliche goes. And this almost as husband and wife, but it's a relationship that's got to be based on mutual support, mutual trust, and mutual giving. I think this means that there's a potential here for exchange of talks, of negotiations, of coming to peace in this situation, and to find a centre point of view that suits the place, because the place is neither one thing or another. It's got to meld this marriage of two different identities into a loving partnership. So we have stuck in rebirth, or the whole issue of rebirth. We have the conflict that is taking place that could lead on into clearing the air and bringing about negotiation and union, partnership. I'm just going to pull a few other cards from other decks quickly to get a little bit more insight into that. So these are Doreen Virtue Ascended Master cards. So looking for some guidance from Ascended Master energy here. Choose Peace, Paramahansa Yogananda. That's a lovely card to pull out. So, peace talks. Things could get resolved through negotiation, through peace talks, through both parties sitting down together and talking about their differences. The world's got to choose peace as well. It's a choice to choose harmony between people. There's a lot of very frightened people. Even Putin himself is frightened. Even the Russian people are frightened. The rest of us in the world here are looking on and feeling frightened. And because the stakes are so high, we have to take this choice of peace. So I'm getting America and Macron being quite instrumental in something here, through fear, through not wanting to be the ones in power when the shit hits the fan, not wanting to go down in history as the people who let this happen, not wanting to be the one left holding the baby at that point. And prayers for peace. People have to add their own desire for peace to the collective. And if that means praying for peace, if that means trying to send peaceful energy, peaceful mantras, peaceful prayers to that situation, this will help really to calm it down a little. And to choose wisely as well. Crystals. I was just talking about crystals this morning. Crystals, what beautiful energy crystals have. And of course crystals are great things to program and work with the earth to take those programs and respond on them, act on them. There's a higher vibration to mineral beings. Shall we call them mineral beings? This war is partly about mineral beings. I'm trying to get a message from this card. Kind of seeing crystals as energy beings rather than as wealth and value and power in wealth. So what does that mean? That means, well, I get programming crystals, planting them in the earth, that would help. Our reliance on lithium is creating, I hope I'm right about this, there's something about the lithium in the Ukraine. Now, I can't remember consciously there being lithium in Ukraine, but I think that's something I heard on one news programme. So yeah, lithium is the new oil. Our reliance on that mineral is going to be strong in the future, and if there's anything that we should have learnt from oil, it's that you know, that greed for a certain product creates with it a lot of destruction, a lot of pollution, a lot of death, destruction, power exploitation, all of that. So working with the crystal world may help to bring healing to that desire for exploiting these minerals, these conscious silicon beings, whatever they are, you know, as opposed to our own life forms. They are different kinds of life forms. So maybe working with crystals at this time will help us amplify peace. Retreat into nature, Green Man. A retreat. Yep, a retreat. I think there's going to be... Putin is going to maybe back up a little, maybe get back to his own borders, maybe not push on. So I'm seeing this as a retreat of attack. He's a very jolly character, is this Green Man here. He is, he's chuckling. He's chuckling about it. It's the force of nature that is chuckling. It's not playing those games. Anyway. Retreat into nature. The Green Man. The greening of the earth came up last night when I was doing that's cat. Doing a card reading as well. And at that point I saw it as when the earth turns green, when the world starts to return back to summer, to growth, to leaves on trees, that would be the timing of things finally becoming peaceful and getting resolved. So I'm going to make that my sort of prediction about this, is that things may start getting resolved about this early summer, sort of May time really is when we get leaves back, isn't it? And so I want to pull one more of these. So underlying artistic expression, pull the Venetian. That's a strange one. The writing is on the wall, as the Sound of Silence said. I don't know. That's a very one. I don't know how to read this one. In Russia, the war can be fought through artistic expression, through there's a lot of people making TikTok videos and things like that, which Putin didn't like very much. People having their own artistic expression about the situation. And of course we do live in a world where when this war happens, like never before have we had the ability to have a voice in the media channels about it, as individuals, as Mr. Nobodies and Mrs. Nobodies. Never before have we had the power to be part of the media war. And this can fight this battle, it can win. This battle is people's artistic expression, people creating poetry, songs, slogans, memes, you know. This can be a very powerful force in the fighting too. And I'm feeling that especially in Russia, the Bohemian rebellion, the Bohemian underclass, will have a way of saying things that have a really large effect, larger than Putin might expect. And it's down to the people and their personal expression. And it will be an expression of love as well. His holding his heart there. So it's going to come from a heartfelt place as well. And the best art, of course, moves you because it comes from a very heartfelt place. Okay, so thinking that love yet again is coming up. Love being the force that can win outright, could produce a union, a partnership, mutual trust, mutual support. And if I chose one last card to end on, what would it be? Oh, there's a spider crawling over the box I was about to choose. Is that symbolic of something? Where's that little spider gone? Oh, it's crawling on my hand! Oh my word. Right, off you go. Little weaver goddess, please do not crawl up my sleeve. On, off you go. It's probably as shocked as I am. So, I love these little coincidences. It's so symbolic of something. It must be. It's a spider. Okay, so one final card on this situation of Putin, Zelensky, not just Zelensky, that's his name, Zelensky. So, one final card on Putin, Zelensky, Russia and Ukraine. So, with all these threats being bandied around, with all this power out of hand, with all this force backed up by threat, how should this be resolved? Spiritual strength. So yet again, I kind of think that is more strength than people had actually bargained for. A resistance. I think Putin thought he would just scare the pants off them and reclaim the country, and he did not expect to find such a stoic and strong opposition. He's also shaming himself in the eyes of the world in things like he could get charged with breaking. Well, the talk last night was being charged with abuses against human rights, but actually creating a charge so that he is charged with threats. Now that is a new charge entirely, and it means that Putin is in fact losing a lot of strength, losing a lot of support, and may actually lose his personal power and situation. So what will overcome in that situation? Spiritual strength, people who meet might with right, people who uphold their spiritual virtue, their conviction. It's a terrible situation. It seems as far from a spiritual situation as the world can get, and yet it seems that some kind of spiritual strength may in fact have the power of tipping the balance here. So here's hoping. On the back of this deck there is emotional loss, and of course there is a lot of that involved in this situation. People who are leaving in their millions, and will never return. So Ukraine will be changed forever by this, and so will the rest of the world. And we have to accept and accommodate and heal that loss for those people if we can. So I think I may leave that reading here. I'm not sure if that's a conclusive answer or just an overview of the situation in many ways. Just like to pull out that card, which has come up a few times for me, and that is victory and success. Yeah, choosing peace. I think, let's hope, whoops, that the ultimate outcome is victory and success. So anyway, okay, I'm just going to leave that there on a positive note, and the cats are getting stroppy because they want their tea. So thank you for listening. I hope you found that some use, some pointers to you. I think there's a lot of panic in the world. I think we have to just trust and have faith, and try and send that peace from ourselves and that spiritual strength, and hope that that spiritual strength wins outright. So I'll leave you with that, and I hope to speak to you all again soon. Take care, don't worry, have a good time, keep smiling, and happy rebirth to us all. Cheers, bye.